The only E-2 video you'll ever need to stay in compliance and keep your business alive, because one compliance mistake could cost you everything you've built and get you kicked out of the United States of America. I'm talking about E-2 visa holders who invested their life savings to start a business in the United States of America, thinking they understood the requirements. But what nobody told you is that E-2 compliance isn't just about having a business. It's about having the right kind of business, structured the right way, with the right documentation, generating the right profits. Despite what you might think, just being profitable isn't enough to keep your E-2 visa. There are specific compliance requirements that most business owners don't even know exist, and violating them could destroy your American dream. Now let me tell you why you should trust me with something as critical as your E-2 visa compliance. I'm with Numeratus, and we're not your typical accounting firm. While other firms treat E-2 visa holders like regular business clients and miss the critical compliance requirements, we've specialized in E-2 visa business structuring and compliance for years. We've worked with hundreds of E-2 visa holders who were told by other accountants that they were fine, only to discover they were violating critical requirements that could have cost them their visa status. We've helped clients restructure their businesses to meet E-2 requirements while maximizing profitability. And we've successfully guided E-2 businesses through renewals when other firms said it was impossible. Here's what most people don't understand. E-2 visa compliance isn't just about taxes or basic business requirements. It's about specific immigration law requirements that intersect with business law, tax law, and employment law. Most accounting firms don't understand these intersections and give advice that could destroy your visa status. We built our practice specifically around the complex compliance requirements that E-2 visa filers hold. We understand both the business side and the immigration side, and we know exactly how to structure your business to satisfy both. Now, if you clicked on this video, you're probably an E-2 visa holder who's worried about compliance. Maybe you're approaching your renewal and you're not sure if your business meets the requirements. Maybe you've heard conflicting advice about what you need to do. Maybe you're profitable, but you're worried it's not the right kind of profitability for E-2 purposes. Either way, you're probably feeling the same anxiety that every E-2 visa holder feels. The fear that one mistake could cost you your business, your investment, and your right to stay in America. Here's what I'm going to show you in this video: the complete E-2 compliance framework that ensures your business meets all the requirements, the specific mistakes that get E-2 visas denied or revoked, and most importantly, how to structure your business for long-term success and compliance. Because the truth is, E-2 compliance isn't complicated when you understand the requirements, but it's devastating when you get it wrong. But here's what's really going to shock you. The biggest threat to your E-2 visa isn't business failure, it's business success that's structured wrong. And most E-2 visa holders have no idea they're setting themselves up for denial. So let me show you exactly what you need to know to stay compliant and keep your American dream alive. Requirement number 1, the investment substantiality test. It's not just about the amount. Let me explain what substantial investment actually means for E-2 purposes, because most people get this completely wrong. Imagine you invested $200,000 to start your business, thinking that's substantial enough for E-2 purposes. But here's what you don't understand. Substantially isn't just about the dollar amount, it's about the relationship between your investment and the total cost of the business. If your business required $500,000 to be fully operational, then your $200,000 investment is only 40% of what's needed. Immigration officers might consider this insufficient, even though $200,000 is a lot of money. But it gets more complex. Your investment has to be at risk, meaning you can't just loan money to your business and call it an investment. You have to actually commit capital that you could lose if the business fails. Do you understand what makes an investment substantial for E-2 purposes? And can you prove your investment meets these requirements? Most E-2 visa holders think any significant investment qualifies, but immigration law has specific requirements that many investments don't meet. Here's what substantial investment actually requires. Your investment must be substantial in relation to the total cost of the business. The funds must be committed and at risk. You must show the source of your investment funds. The investment must be more than marginal. It must be enough to ensure successful operations. If your investment doesn't meet any of these requirements, your visa status could be denied or revoked regardless of how much money you put into it. Now, despite what you've been told, meeting the investment requirements is one step that is by far the most important and yet also the most overlooked aspect of E-2 compliance. But even with a perfect investment, there's another requirement that destroys most E-2 applications. Requirement number 2, the marginality trap. Your business must generate significant income. This is where most E-2 visa holders fail without even knowing they're in danger. Your business can't just be profitable. It has to generate enough income to provide more than a minimal living for you and your family, or it has to have the capacity to generate significant economic impact. Imagine your business is making $50,000 per year in profit. You think this proves your business is a success, but immigration officers might consider this marginal, meaning it only provides a minimal living and doesn't contribute significantly to the U.S. economy. The marginality test isn't just about current income. It's about the business's capacity to generate substantial income. If your business model can only ever generate minimal profits, it might not qualify for E-2 status, even if it's currently profitable. Is your business generating substantial income that exceeds a marginal living, or are you at risk of failing the marginality test? Most E-2 visa holders focus only on profitability without understanding that the type and amount of profit matters for immigration purposes. Here's what the marginality test actually requires. Your business must generate income significantly above a minimal living. If current income is modest, you must show capacity for substantial future income. The business must contribute meaningfully to the U.S. economy. You must demonstrate that the business is not just a way to earn a living wage. If your business fails the marginality test, your E-2 visa will be denied, regardless of how hard you've been working and how much you invested. But after learning the fundamentals, there is one thing that people completely neglect, and it's something that should be one of the most important things to you as an E-2 visa holder. It's maintaining the proper business structure and control. Requirement number 3, the control and ownership disaster. You must actually run the business. This is where many E-2 visa holders accidentally violate their visa requirements without realizing it. You must maintain at least 50% ownership of your business and have operational control. But many business owners make structural changes that inadvertently violate these requirements. Imagine you bring in investors who want significant control over business decisions, or you restructure your business in a way that reduces your ownership below 50%, or you hire a CEO to run the business while you step back from the day-to-day operations. Any of these changes could violate your E-2 requirements, even if they make business sense. Immigration law requires that you maintain both ownership control and operational control of your business. Do you maintain the required level of ownership and control over your business? Or have you made changes that can jeopardize your E-2 status? Most E-2 visa holders make business decisions without considering how they affect their immigration status. Here's what control and ownership requirement actually means. You must own at least 50% of your business. You must have operational control over business decisions. You cannot be a passive investor. You must actively manage the business. Any changes to ownership or control structure must be evaluated for E-2 compliance. If you lose control or ownership of your business, you lose your basis for E-2 status, regardless of how successful your business becomes. Now, the next step I'm about to share with you is possibly one of the most important things to do when it comes to E-2 compliance, and yet it is one people disregard the importance of the most, maintaining proper documentation and records. Requirement number 4, the documentation nightmare. It's proving that you're compliant. This is what separates E-2 visa holders who successfully renew from those who get denied. And despite having compliant businesses, immigration officers don't just take your word that you meet the requirements. They want extensive documentation proving every aspect of your compliance. Imagine your E-2 renewal comes up and you need to prove that your investment was substantial, your business isn't marginal, and you maintain proper control. But you don't have the right documentation to support those claims. You can't prove the source of your investment funds. You don't have financial records that clearly show substantial income. You can't demonstrate your operational control over the business. Without proper documentation, even a perfectly compliant business can be denied. Do you have the documentation needed to prove your E-2 compliance? Or are you hoping immigration officers will just trust your claims? Most E-2 visa holders focus on running their business, but don't maintain specific documentation required for immigration compliance. Here's what E-2 documentation actually requires. Detailed financial records showing investment sources and business performance, corporate documents proving ownership and control structure, employment records demonstrating your active management role, tax returns and financial statements that support your compliance claims. Without proper documentation, even perfect compliance can't be proven to immigration officers. Now that we have everything we talked about settled, the next step is by far the easiest process, yet most people overcomplicate it. Planning for long-term compliance and renewal. Requirement number 5, the renewal strategy. Building for long-term success. This is what ensures your E-2 visa doesn't just get approved once, but continues to be renewed for as long as you want to stay in America. Many E-2 visa holders focus only on meeting minimum requirements, but smart visa holders build businesses that exceed requirements and demonstrate long-term viability. Imagine you're approaching your first renewal and you've met all the basic requirements, but immigration officers are looking for more than just compliance. They want to see your business is growing, contributing to the economy, and likely to continue succeeding. If your business is just barely meeting requirements, officers might question whether it will continue to qualify in the future. But if your business is clearly successful and growing, renewal becomes much more straightforward. Are you building a business that just meets minimum E-2 requirements? Or are you building one that clearly exceeds them and demonstrates long-term success? Most E-2 visa holders aim for minimum compliance instead of building businesses that clearly exceed requirements. Here's what long-term E-2 visa success looks like. Business growth that demonstrates increasing economic impact. Employment creation that shows contribution to the U.S. economy. Financial performance that clearly exceeds marginality thresholds. Strategic planning that shows long-term viability and commitment. You're not just maintaining compliance, you're building a business that makes your E-2 renewals automatic approvals. The next part can take you from being an E-2 visa holder who worries about compliance to one who builds a business empire while maintaining perfect immigration status. And it's something successful E-2 entrepreneurs do automatically. Requirement number 6, the professional compliance system. Never worry about your status again. This is what ensures you never have to worry about your E-2 compliance because you have systems in place that maintain perfect compliance automatically. Most E-2 visa holders try to handle compliance themselves or work with professionals who don't understand immigration requirements. Imagine you have a team of professionals who understand both business success and E-2 compliance requirements. They structure your business for maximum profitability while ensuring perfect immigration compliance. They maintain all required documentation automatically. They plan for renewals years in advance. You focus on growing your business while they ensure you never violate any E-2 requirements. Your compliance becomes automatic and your renewals become routine approvals. Do you have professional systems in place that ensure automatic compliance? Or are you trying to manage complex immigration requirements yourself? Most E-2 visa holders try to handle complex compliance requirements themselves or work with professionals who don't understand the law. Here's what professional E-2 compliance systems provide. Business structuring that optimizes for both profitability and immigration compliance. Automatic documentation and record keeping that satisfies immigration requirements. strategic planning that ensures long-term compliance and renewal success, professional representation that handles complex compliance issues. You're not just running a business, you're building an immigration compliant business empire with professional systems that ensure your success. Look, your E-2 visa isn't just a business permit, it's your ticket to the American dream. But that dream can become a nightmare if you don't understand and maintain proper compliance with E-2 requirements. Every day you operate without understanding these requirements, you're risking everything you've invested and everything you've built. Every compliance mistake could be the one that costs you your visa status and forces you to leave America. But the good news is that E-2 compliance isn't complicated when you understand the requirements and have the right systems in place. You can build a successful, profitable business while maintaining perfect immigration compliance. If you're an E-2 visa holder who wants to ensure perfect compliance, if you want to build a business that not only succeeds, but exceeds E-2 requirements, and if you want professional systems that make compliance automatic so you can focus on growth, you need specialized guidance. At Numeratus, we are the leaders in E-2 visa business compliance and structuring. We understand both the business requirements for success and the immigration requirements for compliance, and we help you achieve both simultaneously. We're not your typical accounting firm. We specialize specifically in the unique challenges that E-2 visa holders face, and we've helped hundreds of E-2 businesses achieve both business success and immigration compliance. If you want to learn more about how to structure your business for perfect compliance, how to build a business that exceeds immigration requirements, how to create systems that make compliance automatic, visit numeratus.us or contact us directly. Don't risk your American dream by guessing about your E-2 compliance. Don't assume that business success automatically means immigration compliance. And don't try to navigate complex immigration requirements without specialized professional guidance. Because remember, your E-2 visa is the foundation of everything you're building in America. Make sure that foundation is solid, compliant, and built to last for as long as you want to stay.